when we are going after a big goal, like making more money, it can feel difficult or hard, or like it's not happening fast enough, or it's taking a really long time. And like, when is this ever going to happen? Manifesting just means to make real, to create in physical form. It's taking an idea, something that's a vision or a dream in your head, and then like actually putting it into physical form, right? Something that you can touch, feel, hear, see, right? Very tangible. The key things that I think is really important to know about manifesting is that often people have the misconception that you can just sort of like dream up an idea and then it's going to like manifest. And here's the thing. Anything that we do in our lives requires us to take action. You know, if you are expecting things to have different results, but you're not doing anything, probably nothing's really going to happen. So manifesting works like this. You actually have to take action. If you want to have things become real in your experience, you have to meet the universe halfway and actually do your part. So I just want to set that up from the beginning because I think it's really, really essential. We are often fed this bill of goods that we can just sort of like visualize or meditate or, journal about it, and like stuff's just going to magically appear. Sometimes things will creep in or pop up, or synchronicities will happen just out of the path of least resistance. But most of the time it actually takes us doing our part, taking action. When we are going after a big goal, like making more money, it can feel difficult or hard, or like it's not happening fast enough, or it's taking a really long time. And like, when is this ever going to happen? And so I want to give you an analogy or a visual of how we can think about, what's like jamming up the process, what's slowing things down. And I think this is going to be a really, really powerful visual for everybody, because sometimes, we just need to just like shift our perspective to see things. So I want you to imagine that you are, up next to, you're on a walk out in nature and you come across this bridge. And so you're going to just like walk under the bridge. And when you look down, you see this beautiful river. And that river is your river of abundance, right? And it doesn't matter if it's like a big tall bridge or a wooden bridge or an iron bridge or any of that stuff, right? It doesn't matter. And what I want you to notice is that, rivers can often flow in different paces, right? So sometimes a river is just like a trickle, right? There's like not a lot of water, or there's been a drought, right? But even a slow trickle of water can be substantial over time. So I don't want you to judge however your river is, right? Whatever's going on. So if you've got just like a slow, steady trickle, like that can actually add up over time. If you think about it, just like a drip from a faucet, like it can be a major leak over time, right? It adds up. So even just a steady trickle of a river of abundance can be massively impactful. So here's what I want to say about that. Bigger isn't necessarily better, right? Faster isn't necessarily better, because sometimes the river of abundance can also be dried up, right? Maybe there has been a drought, and so like nothing has been flowing, right? And so you're like, that can show up in your life as like an income plateau, or maybe you've had a bunch of unexpected expenses. And so it's like, like nothing's flowing here. It's just like all outflowing, right? Nothing inflowing. Sometimes the river, like after a big rain, I don't know, I grew up in Texas and we would often have these flash floods, and it would be like, all of a sudden it would be like no river to like 35 feet of water, like past the bank, right? And like just, charging, tearing up trees, like uprooting stuff, bringing everything that was upstream in that river downstream with it. I don't know if anybody else has ever experienced that. So here's what I want to say about that. Sometimes the river can be destructive. And so I want you to tune in and notice this, because some of you in your manifesting are really trying to like force it and push it and like work really hard, right? And sometimes that can be destructive, because it can be at the detriment of our health or our families or our own sanity, or we just get like overwhelmed and anxious, and we're like not so nice and kind to the people around us because we're like like pushing and forcing it into place, and we're just over efforting. That can happen inside of the manifesting process too. So if we are trying to force it, it's one of the ways that we sabotage ourselves in the manifesting process. What I want to say to you too is that sometimes things cannot flow to us, or they're slowed down or dried up because we have a bunch of junk that is literally clogging up our river. And so imagine you're still on that bridge and you're like looking down at the water and you just see like piles and piles of trash, just like, full garbage bags, those big, like hefty black garbage bags, and it's just filled up with trash. So I'm giving you this as a really powerful visual because here's what's happening. A lot of us have what I call money blocks. We have old negative stories. We have, experiences and things that have happened to us around money that are literally like big bags of trash clogging the flow of our river of abundance. And so what it takes us doing is actually taking that trash out of the river, right? Like doing some cleanup process. Like we have to literally go in there and like make it, Marie Kondo style, like sparkling with joy, right? Like sparking joy for us, and like cleaned up and pristine and like beautiful and natural, so that the water can just flow and it's not going to be polluted or somehow, manipulated by the trash that's in the river. Right? And that trash is analogous to our money blocks. It's the limiting beliefs. It's the negative stories. It's the sabotaging habits. It's all the crap that we do that keeps us separate and apart from the money that we're desiring. And so I bet most of you here, there's a bunch of you here live watching, could actually type out what some of those stories are, what some of those belief sets are. I can't charge that much. I will never be able to make money doing this thing that I love in my life, right? Nobody will ever buy my art. I can't make money being an artist. It's too expensive if I price my product this way. Money isn't available for people like me. She can make money, but that's for like the lucky few. I don't have that kind of job, or it's going to require me to work really, really hard in order to make that kind of money. Can you guys see where I'm going? This is all the trash. These are all the money blocks. These are all the things that are inside of your river abundance that are literally clogging it up and keeping it from flowing, that are, draining you and your energy, that are, just stifling what can come into your experience. So because these are really big beliefs. And so you can see how all of this stuff that is in your river of abundance is clogging the flow, right? It's not allowing all of that rich abundance to come into your experience. And rich abundance meaning, money in the bank, making amazing money, being able to have a powerful impact in your business, right? Serving the people that you want to serve. It's also about allowing the joy into your life, allowing yourself to feel vibrant and healthy and like full of well-being. It's allowing yourself to, have moments of laughter, to feel totally purposeful and lit up and passionate, right? It's having a community of friendships, right? All of that is abundance too. And here's what I know to be true. When you unlock your money story and shift your money story, when you transform your relationship with money and you clear the money blocks, you eliminate the negative beliefs and the limiting beliefs around money, you open up the floodgates for that river of abundance to flow. And I'm talking about all of the abundance, not just the money in your bank account, all of the rich abundance that this life has to offer. There is a really powerful law, a universal law, a quantum law that's called the vacuum law of prosperity. And if you haven't heard of it, I'm going to tell you what it is. The vacuum law of prosperity, what it says is that you actually have to have space to bring in the new. So if there's something that is like in that space, nothing new can come in to fill the void. But once you clear the space, then the next thing can come in to clear the void, right? And so think about it this way. Like if your wallet, if you were to open up your purse or your wallet and it's just like a big pile of stuff in there, like there may not be more room for new money to flow in, right? If you've got like a desk full of like unsent invoices and paperwork and files from your, corporate job that you left 10 years ago, there may not be space for new clients, for new energy, for new projects to actually flow in because you might be like clogging it up. So where do you need to make space? Where do you need to, get Marie Kondo out and like work some magic in your office, in your wallet, in your home, right? And really clear the space. Here's what's key. There are so many different ways that you can declutter and that you can make space. And I'm not, trying to like convince you to go on a cleaning spree, but what I want you to do is pick 5 things that are really symbolic to you and symbolic to money, that are symbolic to abundance. What are 5 things where, if you were to like clean that up, it would literally shift the energy. It would unclog the river of abundance for you. It would make space for more. So here's some things. Your underwear drawer, very symbolic for how you're treating yourself, and are you leaving yourself for last, or are you allowing yourself to receive abundance? Your wallet, your handbag, right? How are you treating your money? Pretty obvious. Your calendar, maybe you need to do some decluttering on your calendar. Often indicates where you have boundaries that may, not really be in place, and you've overcommitted yourself. And so they're not in, it's a lack of boundaries, and like you got to clean that up to make space for the things that you actually want to do. Maybe there's old client files that you're just still holding on to that need to be shredded and, put away. Anything from your corporate job that you would rather forget, maybe you need to declutter that. Your desk, your workspace, right? Do you have the space actually to create your dreams? I had a client who's in my money mastery. She recently redid a whole room in her house and gave herself a proper office. And it's amazing how it has blossomed all these really creative ideas for her and things that she's going on to do for herself and her business that she didn't ever think was possible before. Let's see, your inbox. Maybe you need to unsubscribe. Are you getting a bunch of junk mail from big box stores or other places that are just like sucking up energy and time and distracting you from what it is that you really want to be doing? Is there anything that's like in your home or in your life that's broken? You guys, it's amazing to me, the things and the levels of lack and scarcity that we tolerate. We just sort of like deal with it and let it be, right? Rather than if it's broken and you can't fix it, like get rid of it, move on. Your social media. Maybe there's people that you're following that are draining your energy, that are like sucked up with, world drama, and you don't need to have that in your creative space. Maybe that's something you want to declutter. Are there old purchases or things that you bought that you're just sort of like are making you feel like you're less than, right? They're not really like up to speed with your current vibe or energy. And so it's time to go. Apps on your phone, contacts on your phone. Are there people that are toxic that like, why are you even holding them in your phone space, right? You guys, these are really good ones. I made a big, long list. Obligations or appointments that you're like, I said yes to this, but I really actually should have declined. Go back and decline, take it off. Anything that is in your house that makes you feel poor. There's something that's like in your house that makes you feel poor. It's time to go. Donate it, sell it, give it away, be done with it, release it, and allow in the new. There's books that you don't want to read, like you have permission to give them away. If there's anything in the refrigerator or your pantry that's like out of date, you guys, don't hold on to it. It is dead weight. Old makeup, old toiletries. Maybe you've got stuff that somebody gave you, samples that were like 1,000,000 years old. Get rid of that if you're not using it. Gifts that you didn't want in the first place, old jewelry, old unfinished projects that like make you feel guilty, like, I didn't ever do that, right? Like These things are symbolic, you guys. If you want to have space to really like clear it out, this is part of it. And here's the thing, you guys, I could give you a million more ideas, but though that list is plentiful. Here's what I want to say. I want you to really notice for yourself what comes up as you do this decluttering. Because what I have seen to be true is that when we do this work around making space, when we like actually start to claim for ourselves that we want that river of abundance to be flowing more powerfully into our experience, and we start to like declutter and get rid of the old things and like sort of like, wait a second, can I really have an underwear drawer, and spend $500 on underwear? Like, is that too much? Is that overindulgence? Do I really deserve that? Am I worthy of that? Right? Like, check in. Are those kinds of beliefs coming up for you? Right? If you're cleaning stuff out and you're feeling guilty about it, like, what's the undercurrent of that belief? What's the money belief that is blocking you? What's the limiting story that you learned that you're holding on to? Right? The point of this exercise is not to go on a cleaning spree. The point of this exercise is, yes, to declutter and make space and use this vacuum law of prosperity, right? To like make space for more abundance, because we all know that you are worth more. But it's also to help us uncover, to really get clear about how we're limiting ourselves. And so this is the most practical of exercises, you guys. This is like so simple. And yet that's why it's so elegant. It's because of the simplicity and the power in noticing and uncovering and discovering and excavating all the ways that we hold ourselves back and apart and separate from the money and the abundance that we desire.